Thomas Frank coming out and blaming fans, right? He needs to pipe down. And he needs to be very careful with his words right now with the fans, because he's putting this garbage together. He's the man at the top of it. And I wouldn't say it's all his fault. The players need to grow a pair of you-know-what, get out on the football pitch and make the fans cheer them. Because Spurs fans are sick to death of turning up, having to watch garbage week in, week out, and then expect the players to be like, come on, lads, let's keep going. Let's keep, cheering us on. You're rubbish.
Jay.
You can't expect fans to turn up and cheer when you're 2-0 down after 6 minutes against Fulham. It's not going to happen. So, grow a pair, have some affiliation, fight your way out of it, go and get stuck into someone, go and demand the ball, run around, make it look like you want to be playing for Spurs Football Club, and give the fans something that they can cheer about. All these fans want to be is Spurs players. All they want to do is walk on that pitch and play for Tottenham. And when they see players out there on a football pitch who look like they don't want to play for Tottenham and look like they can't be bothered and look like they don't know what they're doing, when they're getting paid 150 grand a week and these poor blokes are turning up week in, week out, going to pay their money to watch that garbage, how can you expect them not to boo? How? Grow a set, get out there, get on the ball and make something happen. And if you don't, then bugger off. Because you ain't good enough to play for Tottenham. I remember playing for Tottenham when we was in dire straits. Dire straits we was. We just won the Carabao Cup, and then it all went downhill. Juan de Ramos could not pick up a point. But did I think for 1 minute I didn't want to go out on that football pitch and try and make a difference? Give me the ball and try and make
Jay, do you know what they should all do? They should read the crest. It should be able to dare is to do. That'll get them playing. To dare is to do.
Thomas Frank needs to pipe down, get the tactics right, pick a formation, pick a team, and get them playing with a bit of freedom. Get them expressing themselves, get them confident playing at home, get the crowd off their seat. Win, lose or draw, you've got to put in better performances than what you're doing, because they look like they're scared to go and play. Scared to play football at one of the best stadiums in the world. Scared. I'd give my right leg to go and walk out of Tottenham again and run around, even if I was garbage. I would give everything to go and play on that pitch again. And these players are walking around, strolling about, look like they don't know.
Just Spurs, though, Jay.
They look like they're scared to go and play for Tottenham.
It's
scared.
Spurs.
You're playing against Fulham.
It's just who we are, mate.
Playing Fulham.
It's just who we are.
At home.
Get whooped.
Whooping. Honestly, I remember playing against Fulham and Danny Murphy was in midfield. We pumped them 5-1. It was embarrassing. I didn't even play well. I was terrible that day. They were booing me. I remember them booing me. We won 5-1. Played 90 minutes, ended up at left back because one day Ramos was like, I've got to get him out of midfield. He keeps giving the ball away. Didn't take me off, though. I still wanted to play.
Jay, do you know how many home games you've won
It's Fulham.
This calendar year at home? There's a stat knocking about, and I don't want to say the number because I'll have to find out if it's real or not. I'm looking at my producer. This calendar year, how many Spurs games in the league they've won at home?
I don't, mate. I don't care. I don't care.
You do care.
I don't care.
See, that's what I mean. That's what it's done to you, right?
It is. You know what? It's breaking my heart. I sit and watch Spurs now, and I'm like,
Hey, it's every game.
What am I watching?
It's every game.
Like, seriously, though, but I'm sat there, I'm like, what am I watching? And I try not to be nostalgic about the team that I played in, the players that I played in, because the game's changed and we've moved on. But I'm looking around the team and I'm thinking, not one of these players, not one of them, maybe Van der Ven, right?
What about his mate next to him, the best partnership in world football?
Well, yeah, that's gone.
that didn't last long.
That was a bad statement.
That didn't last long.
And I look at it and go, not one of these players gets in the team that I played in. Not one. How can that be right? How can that be right? That we ain't got one player, not even my team, the team after me, Pochettino's team, Harry Redknapp's team, no, all the teams, Martin Yole's team. And I look at it and go, not one of these players can get in that team. So I can blame Thomas Frank and blame his tactics, but the players have got to look at themselves as well and go, we've got to be producing more than this. We've got to produce better than this.
See, you've taken the fun away from it, mate. That's exactly what I mean. That's how I feel now.
Is Aston Villa's team better than Spurs? Like, overall, if you look at the squad of players, would you look at Aston Villa's squad and say it's way better than Tottenham's?
I'd have to go through it, but my instincts are to say yes. I'd have to go through it. My instincts to say yes,
but
they
not
are.
every player on the pitch, right? Look at Aston Villa. Look at that football club.
With the manager, sticky start, mate. They got themselves back up and running.
Sticky start, but everyone in yet they know the formation, they know the tactics, they go at it together. I watch this Spurs side, and I'm like, what am I watching? None of them look like they can play football. They don't look like they care. They don't look like they want to get on the ball and make things happen. No one's got any heart, any balls to go out there and say, I'm going to be the man who's going to stand up and take this club forward. Maybe Bergvall, I'll give him his props. Bergvall runs about. The rest of them, I'm looking and going, like Van der Ven, all right? But Van der Ven's a centre-half. You're looking at players to score goals and make something happen. But Xavi Simons out there flicking things around.
It's bad, mate. Look at you.
I don't want to... You know what? I feel like I'm talking myself out into trouble here, and I'm going to have people on the blower having a go at me. But...
Well, there's people on the blower now want to have a go at you.
No, but I'm talking... Yeah, but fans are different. But it's just... I don't know. It's like... I'm so passionate about Spurs, but they are taking the love out of it for me. And I was so blessed and honoured and lucky to play for Tottenham and go out there. And I weren't the best player ever to play for Spurs. I was all right. But I tell you what, I run about. I tell you what, I put my heart on my sleeve. And I tell you what, I didn't hide when it was going wrong. I'd stand up and be counted. And at least there was a relatability to the team I was in, a relatability to the fans and me, that we were there together and we'd try and figure it out and fight together to find a way to get results. We were Who's relatable at Spurs right now? Where's the young up-and-coming star that we've got who's come from the academy?
Vicario?
Where's the star that we can hang our hat on and go, that's the guy that we're all going to put our shirt on, and pay our money to go and watch him play?
Mate, what's happened?
I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen you like
the only decent player we've got, we brought from West Ham.
I don't know what to say, mate.
I've rattled on already. Look, I'm sorry.
You've seen the clock.
I had to get it off my chest because I've been thinking about it for 2 days. Can I go home now?
Mate, you listen, you've set the show up. You set it up. You've been yabbering. You've been going on now for nearly 20 minutes.
Players,
20-minute rant.
Recruitment, everything about that football club needs to have a look at themselves. They've got to sort it out quickly. 03717 22 33
Right, let's hear from the Tottenham gaffer, Thomas Frank. He's been speaking ahead of his side's game away to Newcastle. It's live on talkSPORT tomorrow. Over the weekend, of course, he said that those Spurs fans who booed their own goalkeeper, Vicario, against Fulham were not true fans. And earlier today, he was asked whether those comments could damage his own relationship with the supporters.
I don't know. And you can say, how do you define a true Spurs fan? I think all the fantastic fans we have believe they're true Spurs fans. Some react in one way, some react in another, some want a little bit in between. No matter what, we need all of them.
And I also saw...
we were just having a chat while that audio was being played. I didn't understand necessarily what you said because my ears were in, but you said something...
I remember, obviously, I've known him a long time, but I remember something similar happened to you at West Ham fans towards the end when they were booing you.
I mean, well, different parts, but yeah. I've experienced that before, booed by fans.
Why?
Different generation. I mean, there was different things. I think one point was when we had that terrible second season in the Premier League, and it was like, it's all my fault. Different reports and things were coming out.
Was it just you they were picking on, or other players in there?
Generally, it was just me. But then the team wasn't doing too well, and I was captain as well at the time, so I got booed. And even when I just got to West Ham, I witnessed Christian Daly at the time, the club captain. He was getting booed one time. I think we lost to Millwall. And he scored an own goal, really not much he can do about it, and he got booed for weeks and weeks. But that was a different generation. That was a lot more mentally strong and challenging generation of football players.
Do you think the fans have a right to boo players?
Fans have a right to do whatever they want. I think for me that they pay their money, yes. I don't agree with it. It's not constructive. It's not going to help the players. But you can't tell fans how to act. And at the same time, as ex-players, even when... You've played the game and then you're away from the game, you do sit and watch games and analyse games to say it's down for us to give these fans something to cheer about. So sometimes in some games I've played in, you always say to yourself sometimes that what do you have to lose? Like, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. These people are coming in there, whether it's 60,000, 70,000 stadium you're playing in front of. They're here to watch you play. So what do you have to lose? So you have to have that bit of arrogance and belief in yourself. And, Tottenham for me right now is just a difficult place. It really is a difficult place as a football club. And then you wonder sometimes if the whole culture or the club really needs to be gutted out. Because my thing is this, fans have the right to boo. But when you boo and you look at the modern game right now, how are you going to attract players, or players going to want to go to Tottenham if they see the fans acting like this? Because it's a different generation of footballers you're dealing with now. I think that's something that people have to really understand.
What do you mean a different generation? Because when you say something like that, I haven't played the game, but my thoughts are, I don't know if that's true, because if you offer someone 80 grand a week or 150, they're going to go anyway.
No, but
is that not the case?
No, but the likelihood of that is, as Nigel's alluding to in terms of the mentality, is that, well, if you're going to offer me 80 grand, there's someone else going to offer me this 80 grand, so I'll take the
more loving
option.
club.
For top class players, they'll take the more easier club. They'll take the more easier route instead of going to a club that, if you see this type of behaviour, so to speak, why would I want to go there? Because it's very competitive. When you talk about Tottenham, you got to talk about Villa, Newcastle. There's so many clubs now, Bournemouth. There's so many clubs competing, and not just in England, but also in Serie A and La Liga, where these players have a better option. Because the pool now of top class players isn't as big as it was in our generation. Because now a lot more players, Andy, are athletically driven than actually footballers with a footballing mindset, footballing mentality, and football intelligence.
Earlier on, you said, I think you used the phrase like gut the club. Is that right?
Yeah.
With Tottenham, what do you think the problem is with Tottenham then? How deep is it?
It just seems to me like it's just a mentality thing. I mean, Benny could add to it more than me because he's been at that club and everything. I just think it just doesn't seem like the mentality is right there, and the outset is there. And the examples I've used before is, for example, to be the best, I always say you compare yourself to the best, right? Most people would say Real Madrid is probably the biggest club in the world and one of the best clubs. You might not like how they conduct themselves as a football club, but they do it for a reason. That's how they stay successful. You get hired as a manager, you don't do what the objectives are, you get fired, on to the next. But it's about winning. Because I always say this to people as well, when they say about Real Madrid, I always say, tell me what's their footballing philosophy? Because I've heard that so many times. Their philosophy is just winning. So when a player goes to Real Madrid and they line up all their Champions League trophies alongside you, what does that tell you to understand the monster that you're coming into? What's expected at this club? It's winning. They do that for a reason. So for me, that just lets people going into that club understand what it means to play for this club and what we expect. With Tottenham right now, it's hard to understand where they're trying to go and what they're trying to do. And is it really that the messaging hasn't been done well enough now to say, this is what we're trying to do, this is the atmosphere we're trying to create, this is the culture of the club we're trying to create?
Do you know what? I think last season's decision is a prime example of that, because 17th for Spurs isn't good enough by any stretch, but they won a trophy. So it is almost like, okay, what is it? Is it finishing 10th and you win the trophy, a successful season? Because this is what I don't understand for this season. It's going to be interesting, is that, listen, I don't think they're going to win anything, but if they finish 10th, 11th, 10th, we'll say 10th for the sake of this argument, will Spurs fans go, well, it's an improvement on last season, we were 17th last season, so I'm happy with 10th? Absolutely not. They're going to go, that's not good enough. So I don't quite know what is the yardstick in terms of what's a good season and what's not.
Well, I would imagine, I mean, all football fans want to win something primarily, right? And I think if you're one of the big heads, you want to win something, not just in a domestic cup knockout, but you also want to win the league or have a chance of winning it, knocking on the door, like Arsenal, like Man City. Chelsea are in the mix as well. Not obviously Liverpool this year, you never know. But with Spurs fans, I think their expectations always been high, but realistic as well. Spurs fans don't think they're going to win the Premier League, but
but that's the problem. That's what I'm saying about the mindset. Why should they not start thinking like that?
I think you have to be realistic, right? Spurs fans deep down, like I'm a Man United fan. I know we're not going to win the Premier League this season. I know that.
Yeah, but you're coming off the back of winning it for decades.
For years.
I know, but I can look
historically.
I can look at the players we got. I can look at where the club is at the moment, and I can look at the other teams that are knocking on the door, and I know that we're just not good enough. I think Spurs fans understand where they are, but they would expect a cup run and maybe at the end of it a trophy. I think that's fair for Tottenham, right?
So for me, when I look at, again, you talk about the mindset and everything that the club's done, right? You look at the new stadium, amazing. Against USAFL, big club. They want to be mentioning that big club mentality. And I know, obviously, speaking to a lot of English fans, and they've got to understand the business side of football now. The word branding is used a lot, and that's a reality of your local football club. The one thing that's changed in football isn't so much the players and maybe the coaching and everything like that. It's the owners. The owners are different. We grew up in a generation where most of the owners were local wealthy businessmen. There's a deeper connection to clubs. These guys are just business first. So for me, for Tottenham, is it unfair to say that as a Spurs fan, or for what the club should be saying with what we've got now, realistically every year our aim should be top 4, at least in the Champions League, while still trying to do a cup run alongside that? But for a club like us, if we want to say a big club, we've got to be in the Champions League every single year, like Atletico Madrid.
Do you not think there's too many clubs to have the same ambition?
I would say there's a good group of clubs there, but I think Tottenham should be looking at themselves in that way.
So, Arsenal are 100% there, right?
Arsenal,
right?
the usual.
Chelsea, 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Start the season, Liverpool will have that ambition.
Yep.
Right? Man City will have it as well.
Man City.
So there's 4 clubs that we all sort of say is nailed on, guaranteed. Well, Tottenham can't get in that.
Well, look at Liverpool. Yeah, but you say that, but Liverpool have had a drop off this season, and now Villa's in there, Brighton's above them, Sunderland's above them. So there's no reason why they couldn't be that team.
But this is the part about creating a culture. This is the culture aspect. It's like whoever the owner is or how the message is filtered down, it should be, we expect top 4 finish. That should be it. And then the players coming into that building with the manager, whatever it is, I'm not getting involved in that side of the conversation, but filtering that message down that this is what we expect, and the manager keeps on relaying that message to the players. It's fine to be ambitious like that. I know it's competitive. Like you said, you've got Villa and all these other clubs, and Newcastle's another one. I'll probably say for Eddie Howe at Newcastle, as great as he is, I guarantee that up top above him, they would expect at least a top 4 finish pretty much every year.
Yeah, great show, guys. I'm glad the violin was on you, Jamie, tonight, because I'm used to that on your show. To be honest, Jamie, Cundy, please leave us alone, because I'm going to stick it on him, because...
No, but
Jamie,
Matt, here's the thing, right? I don't enjoy it anymore. I'm not having fun.
Listen, I'm 100% with you on that one. As a Chelsea fan, you're fine. Okay, you can, and the Arsenal fans can give it. But Jamie O'Hara starts off with, "Oh, we done well at the start of the season, and we're looking good, and we're winning games." And then in his next sentence, which player will get into any other team? And then Aston Villa, he's got a cheek to talk about Aston Villa. This is a team that was in the Championship 4 years ago, and since then he's talking about their goalkeeper Emi Martinez. We've got 4 goalkeepers at the club, and they don't even make the right leg of that guy. And then you're talking about the defenders and the midfielders and the attackers. We haven't got one decent player. Now, in your next sentence, you was turning around and talking about how Thomas Frank should be sacked. Shouldn't he?
I didn't say that. I never said he should get sacked.
No, you didn't say that. I'm just saying Thomas Frank should be sacked. Now, with your next
Well, you think he should be sacked?
Well, I spoke to Majestic and Alan Pardew, and Alan Pardew goes, "Well, you're in 6th place, and like Thomas Frank is going to come good." And then they cut me off at that point, and I thought, honestly, Alan Pardew, I've got so much time for you, mate. But honestly, you think that this guy's going to do well at Spurs? Tottenham are now 12th, and they're nosediving. Now, you turn around with your next sentence and said, "Oh, we're only 6 points off 4th." Jamie, mate, come on, mate. Honestly, seriously.
I know, but you can't. I mean, you want to bury the club, but you can't just keep burying it, can you?
Mate, the club has been buried for God knows how many years. And I don't look about last year we won the Europa League, and it wasn't too bad. We winning a few games. But listen, the bottom line is we've been nosediving for years, and this was eventually going to come. Now, what Vivian did to Daniel was the best thing do you know what? It's the best thing since my kids were born. What they did to him. But the bottom line is what's going to happen next. And this is what you need to be talking about, mate, on your show. Not talking about how Richarlison misses from 12 yards. Not talking about that Vicario who's got butterfingers because he's useless. Honestly, that guy with his distribution, and he's got the cheek to have a go at a player when Adogi couldn't keep hold of the ball. It's honestly, what are these individuals thinking?
Okay, so what's the answer then, Matt? Because we can sit here and moan, but what's the answer?
Listen, forget talking about taking the mickey about. Listen, you can't even take the mickey out of West Ham fans. Forget about every football club right now. Concentrate on what we should be doing. Now, the thing is, you need to convince 60,000 of them that turn up week in, week out, and walk away from that stadium with their heads down. Oh, God, there we go again. Every single home game. We can't even win home games. And that's what it's about. So the bottom line is you need to start piping up and talking about these individuals that shouldn't be at the football club. And I don't care about Archie Grace and Lucas Bergveld because they're not good enough. Every single one of them should be out of that door, bar maybe Van der Ven with the potential. But he ain't going to get into that potential being at Spurs. Maybe at City, but he won't be at Spurs. So we need to do the right thing and start protesting to get these owners out now. They're the next lot.
Do you want the owners out?
These are the problem. These lot are the problem. We've got players there that are mercenaries. Week in, week out, collecting the money, and we're losing to Fulham, who hasn't even had an away win. And they're coming to us saying, can we play you every week? Is that what you want, Jamie?
What do you? I mean, I don't know why you're having a go at me. I'm agreeing with you.
You know what? When Spurs win, you jump in for joy, mate. The reality is, every point Tottenham gain, it's breathing space like that. It was breathing space for that parasite when they won the Europa League. But you know what? The bottom line is, we need to hit the low periods, and I mean lower than this, to be able.
We finished
to
17th last season.
Listen,
Can't get any lower than that.
That fan base is the only thing that's going to get these owners out. The only thing. Unless they wake up tomorrow morning and go, let's sell up. But you know, when you're milking the money from the Premier League and all that money coming in, you never sell up. Jason wouldn't sell up if he was the owner. Nobody would sell up because it's just money machine. It makes money like anything. But you know what? The fans, if they protest, we can get him out. Now, that Thomas Frank having a pot at the fans, what did he think? People pay £200-300 to come to watch that and watch that individual walk away in his flashy Mercedes, earning 75-80 grand a week. And we're not supposed to boo to that. Remember, Jamie, it ain't one game that he's done it. He's done it every other game. And if it ain't him, it's Pedro Porro. And if it ain't him, it's Sarr. If it ain't him, it's Richarlison. It's week in, week out. Somebody always makes mistakes. And until it changes, this is what you're going to get. And you can't go around. You need to start protesting about these owners. Talk about these owners and get the fans on.
Daniel Levy's gone.
Forget that. He's gone now.
Okay, so, I mean, you protested. He left. He's gone. You can't have a go at the owner right now. We haven't had a transfer window with the new ownership yet.
So,
with the new people in charge.
I tell you what, Jamie, I'm going to do a little thing with you. I promise you, and I'm live on air, I promise you, if these owners go out and start buying 80 million, and I'm not talking a Richarlison 60 million or a Dominic Solanke 60 million, I'm talking proper footballers.
Yeah.
In January, start buying all these proper footballers for £80 million, giving 250 grand a week. I promise you, live on air, I will run up and down Tottenham High Road starkers if this happens. Because I tell you what, it ain't going to happen.
I don't know if anyone wants to see that,
It will
mate.
never happen.
Matt.
Yes.
How was your weekend?
Super, absolutely.
No, seriously, mate. I'm a bit.
Roast from my missus.
Say again.
I cooked a lovely roast for my missus. And I had the most fantastic weekend.
Right. What did you cook her?
I done a roast for her.
No, which one though?
We don't. Roast chicken, mate.
Weren't you at Spurs Stadium?
Roast chicken.
You must have been at the stadium at the weekend.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You're always there. You've got a van there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is your missus still support Chelsea? Yeah.
No, she doesn't. That's another thing. She goes to me, I'm going in the other room because I can't take what Jason's going to say to me. No, she's not a Chelsea fan. I can.
Don't know, mate. It's what she said live on air last time she come on.
1,000,000% she ain't a Chelsea fan.
She said Chelsea, Matt.
That was her mum and her dad. That was it. Right? Nothing to do with her.
Well, it gets passed down. I think she's a bit scared to tell you the truth, Matt.
No, never in a million years, mate.
Matt.
She'll always be the bluest Spurs, always. And you know what? I feel. You know what?
Let her go, Matt. Let her go to the West London side, mate. Come on.
No, don't be silly. Don't be silly.
Listen, Matt, I'm gonna let you go, mate. Thanks for coming on. Spurs fans, you can have your say. I don't know where we go from here. Is it the manager? Is it the players? Is it the board? I've seen some back pages. The players are maybe turning on Frank with his tactical decisions. I thought Frank was a good manager. I thought when he come in, he was a really good manager. And Matt can sit there and say what he wants, but the start of the season, we did look all right.
You're back.
I wouldn't say we were back.
I think you did, mate.
Yeah, but, that's just in jest.
I think you did.
Right, having a bit of fun. But we looked all right. We looked better than what I was. But, I was excited about Xavi Simons. I thought he was going to come in. He was going to make a difference.
Still might, Jay.
It just looks, all of a sudden, it just looks like it's gone so toxic, so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And Thomas Frank, I mean, he's pouring petrol on the fire right now. I don't know if he's doing a good job about what he's, digging out the fans.
Mate, do you know who's got? Do you know you've got your next home game, right? You know who next home game is?
Go on.
Brentford. As if Keith Andrews rocks up, pulls down his former manager's pants.
So we got Newcastle and Brentford.
Brentford home.
Yeah, Newcastle then Brentford.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that's
yeah. As in Keith Andrews rocks up there, mate.
If he
gives
does.
slaps, whooping and slaps.
Dear. I don't know where to go, mate. I don't know what to do. Can we move on? Can we talk about Arsenal and Chelsea? Got loads of Spurs fans who want to have this. So you can come on. Let's talk about it. Let's sort it out. 03 717 22 3344.
Booing your own team, Darren, do you think that's acceptable?
I'm never a fan of it. I remember a few years back, I sat down with Emmanuel Abui, who famously was booed by Arsenal fans to the point of being in tears. And he opened up on how much that destroyed him at the time, and the lasting impact that it had on him. I think this is a very different set of circumstances. So I think the situation, the fans aren't necessarily targeting Vicario. And I've got a lot of Tottenham fans. I covered Tottenham as a club for many years. So I understand what they're going for at the moment. They are frustrated. They pay some of the highest ticket prices in Europe. Mm-hmm. Their team hasn't won in front of their own fans. I think it's only 3 Premier League wins in this entire calendar year.
That's right.
They are true Spurs fans who continue to commit their financial as well as their emotional support to the club, but the club are not repaying them. And they are unhappy with the level of performance. They are unhappy with the level of consistency. They are unhappy with being patronised and told that they're not true Spurs fans if they don't clap and say how much they are behind the team without pointing out that they're not getting what they expect from a side that invests that amount of money and time in players. And there's always a reset, and there's always something, everyone's trying to tell fans that they've got to get behind a team, but they're saying, what do we have to get behind? And what we saw at the weekend came after the surrender against Chelsea. What we saw at the weekend from international footballers who should know better was a level of performance that you couldn't offer up to any side really in the top 6 and say, yeah, you've got to get behind that. I feel a lot of sympathy for Spurs fans because they're being told they're not real fans if they stomach what they've been stomaching so far, and that's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was ill-advised from him because you have to put it into context. The home form's been dreadful. They had a bad week, bad couple of games. Chelsea smashed them, Arsenal smashed them. They actually started the game trying to be on the front foot. The first goal was a counter because they went so gung-go. I mean, they can't win. It's like you get first counter and they score, and then the keeper makes a howler. There was some ironic cheers to Vicario, I think, the next time he came. Call it boos, whatever you want. The simple fact is, footballers have had it for years and they'll always have it. The fans are allowed to do it, and you can't. You've got to change them. You've got to change the tone in the stadium by how you play. Vicario's been poor this season. He's been poor for a while. He's poor on set plays and crosses. Yeah, he's a decent shot stopper, but that's his job. He's not that comfortable with his feet. He's a bit wishy-washy, like dithers, and doesn't look that confident. The manager should have took him out of the firing line a month ago, 2 months ago.
100%.
So part of the problem, really, is the manager keeping him in, because I've not seen a keeper there who deserves to keep his place after the first couple of months of the season, in my opinion. Now, there is a flip side where a new manager in a new club defending his players, keeping them on board, which is more important at the moment, really, than the fans, because if the players turn, you are in a world of trouble. So I get it, but I think he's backtracked a little bit. Today I listened to him and he delivered it better. He delivered it better because he's an articulate guy, and I like him a lot. I spoke on Match of the Day at the weekend about the game and what I'm seeing with Tottenham, and I truly believe this. And he might say different, of course. I don't think he's set yet on his best team and how he's going to play. Because I think he's looking at some of the players. He's got some injuries, of course, but he's looking at some of the players, some he doesn't know enough about, and he's probably working with them every day, seeing their good and bad things. He's giving players a try. The forward line's changing a lot. The midfield changes. I think he doesn't know yet exactly how he's going to play with this squad and who's going to be in the team, the best 11. And that's a real problem because those partnerships you were talking about earlier don't seem to have formed.
No.
The only one really, you could, couple. I think Van der Ven's been decent level this season. He's been the main defender, as always, consistent. And Kudus is the one who always seems to still get on the ball and try and make things happen and beats people and takes people on. And
you see, the problem with that, though, Dan, is that if you take those two out the side, what do you have? Porro's going on and telling players not to go and clap fans. Porro's level of performance of the weekend was shocking. Romero, he didn't play at the weekend. He plays decent for Argentina, but he's a liability in a Spurs shirt. I think you could go around that team and pick holes in a lot of that squad, that team, and what you've just said there sums up the trouble with Tottenham. Arsenal know what they're doing. Liverpool, we get to Liverpool, they're good. It's a very different set of circumstances to Liverpool, but clearly last season they knew what they were doing. City proven to know what they're doing. Chelsea have a very clear idea about what they're doing. Spurs go from one drama crisis to the next. And if you're going to sack the guy, and I'm not going to say that they should have kept. They're not going to. No. I don't think they're going to sack him. I'm saying if you're going to sack a guy who's won a Europa League and got you into the Champions League, the guy that you bring in has to have a clear idea about what he's doing.
Well, I think he does.
To your point, you're saying that he doesn't know what his best team is yet.
Yeah, yet I don't think he does. I think he'll have an idea on what he wants to do. And then early in the season, they did all right away from home, some decent performances.
Yeah, but you're in the top six. You're aspiring to be with the big kahunas. You can't do all right. You've got to be consistent.
The squad he's got is good enough to do better. The one thing I've seen with Thomas Frank, and you'll know probably better than me, over the last couple of years now at Brentford, he played with the players he had a certain way, and then he evolved the team to play decent football, mixed it up. But his last year or two at Brentford, the football was good. They weren't always pragmatic and defensive, trying to stay in games. No, that wasn't them. You watched Brentford last season, it was a good watch, playing good stuff.
Dan, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, listen, I know... When he started at Bromby,
what I'm saying is he'll get there if you give him time.
100%. When he was at Bromby, he had a bad start. When he was at Brentford, he had a bad start. He has had bad starts. The problem is that when you're talking about Spurs fans booing, it's because everyone wants them to continue to be patient at a club that is systematically underachieving.
Yeah, that's true. And
they are paying huge amounts of money in ticket prices for a club that's systematically underachieving. Then he's come along and at the start, and I'm a Thomas Frank fan. I've been in his company's fantastic erudite. I'm just articulating what Spurs fans are saying, and they're saying that at the start of the season they were setting up to contain teams very much as Brentford would have done, and they're saying we're Tottenham, we should be coming out and expressing ourselves, but then they do that and then they're leaving the back door open. And on the right side, I mentioned Porro, so much of what destroyed them at the weekend came down that right side.
Well, he's just got to ride it. He's got to get on with it. It's a big boy, big club, big wages. You've got to be resilient as a manager. You've got to take the flak, crack on the training ground.
I think the messaging, I know you've got to move on. The messaging has to change. I think that they perhaps have to have a little chat about how they address this, because the chaps, Matt Law's done a terrific piece with Sam Wallace in the Telegraph at the weekend about how the disconnect between the players and the fans. And there is a disconnect. It's very easy to do. And that messaging has to change so that you're not deriding people who put money they can barely afford into following the team home and away and then get told they're not real fans. You're not going to win them over that way.
Well, it doesn't get much easier for Tottenham. They head to Newcastle tomorrow night. It's live on talkSPORT as well.
And Brentford, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Brentford at home on Saturday in a 3 o'clock kickoff.
Tottenham fans, what on earth is going on with you? Tottenham put in another poor home game at the weekend, a poor showing, I should say, losing 2-1 to Fulham. This is the stat that floors me. It remains 3 home wins in 21 games thus far. But there's more to this. Tottenham went 2-0 down inside the first 5 minutes with Vicario, the goalkeeper, at fault for the second goal, rushing out a goal, not clearing his lines, and giving possession straight back to the opposition, who took full advantage. Well done them. Harry Wilson, it was a beauty. Spurs fans booed Vicario for his role in the whole shebang, and then gave him ironic cheers when he next received the ball and booted it away. And Thomas Frank jumped on that, saying, hang on, you lot, that's not on.
I didn't like how the fans reacted on that. I think they booed at him straight after, and also 3 or 4 times when he was on the ball. I think for me that's unacceptable. It can't be true Tottenham fans. Booing after, fair, no problem. But when we in it together. And if we need to turn it around, we need to do it together. So that's hugely important for me.
Might that, Martin, come back to bite Thomas? The ones who booed Vicario, you can't be true Tottenham fans.
No, I think he's got to be true to himself. If he feels that it needs to be said during the game, if you're, this is becoming toxic now, playing at homes for Spurs, and you're, the 12th, they used to call the fans, didn't they, the 12th man, and obviously they're working now for the opponent. It's making it very difficult. Okay, you can boo at the end of the game. It seems as if the players are getting hammered on the pitch, and it's almost like an us and them situation, that you have to be united to be successful. So that atmosphere, that the culture there now, it's got to change. But this is 3 home wins in 21 matches. This is like he's brought into us. It's an historical issue, and he's got to turn it round. The previous manager bemoaned the crowd on occasions, so there's nothing new there. They've got to start performing, Jim, on the pitch. And I think with Thomas Frank, I would like to see a little bit more identity of the man himself. So when they played against Arsenal, it was like they were quite passive, and they set up a system to play a 5 to deal with Arsenal, and then they got battered. Now, if you look at the last 4 matches, they've only had 7 shots on target. So, okay, if you're working with him, you're saying, come on, what are we trying to do? How are we trying to progress the game? What we're building? What's the signature of Thomas Frank? Now, when you were at Brentford every week, it was you go from game to game, flip-flopping from a 4 to a 5 and finding results, slow play, all of these tactics. But now it's about identity, and he's going to have to work out. I'm pretty certain he's going to get there. I think he's hugely intelligent, but he's managing as well for a very difficult situation.
Man, isn't there? There's a disconnect between the Spurs players and their supporters.
It is because
and I don't think Thomas helps it.
No, but they've had years of it
like that. If you're a supporter and you've paid your money, and you look at your goalkeeper, who, let's face it, started an absolute pantomime moment.
You should put the ball in the stand. There's no doubt about it. He's overplayed. But I didn't see any.
They want to vent their feelings at that moment. What's wrong with that?
I didn't see a player on the pitch though react and maybe go into the goal to react. Maybe that's something I might have done to help him out. You're all in this together. There's too much of blaming individuals here. This blame culture has to change. But ultimately, they've got to start playing some decent football.
This idea of blame culture. First of all, everybody's right in this conversation because the fans have the right to do as they please because they're the guys that are actually funding football clubs to some extent through television subscriptions and match fees. Do I think it's constructive to boo somebody? Do I think it helps the overall picture? No. But footballers also have to realise that people pay a lot of money to go and watch them play. And if you give them nothing to cheer about, what is it you expect them to do? Get a pat on the back when you're 2-0 down to a rather average Fulham side this season? Yeah. Are you expecting to be rewarded for that? Thomas Frank, has put out performances recently. And I'm in a Thomas Frank admirers club. I like him. I don't think the job's too big for him. I don't think that we should be hounding Thomas Frank out of a job. I think Thomas Frank should be given some opportunity. But that Spurs side, also the hand he's been dealt, Spurs are poor. They're not a good side. I looked at that side on the weekend. I looked at what they are. They're nothing right now. They're missing Madison. They're missing Kulusevski, their best creative players, and Solanke seems to be forever injured. So I get all that, right? But the fans themselves have seen an absolutely placid performance against their major rivals, Arsenal. They've gone 2-0 down against the Fulham side that are not in particularly good nick this season, albeit they've got a very good manager. They saw them in a previous week, albeit they beat Copenhagen 4-0. And then what we've got is this wonderful week where you got smashed 5-3 by PSG, and because you were in that game for a period of time, that somehow is an encouraging development for Thomas. Look, I remember him at Brentford. He is prone to saying some robust things. I remember him first coming into the Premier League and thinking a couple of times he was in games where they got beat and he said, we should have smashed the opposition. And I thought, strange language for you to be using when you've just arrived in the Premier League, but there's no doubt he's a top manager. But this idea that you cannot fans should support. Yes, of course they should.
Of course, and wants to.
But here's the thing: you've also the responsibility is on footballers to give them something to support.
Right.
It's not just a one-way transaction. It's not just this crappy idea of having a 12th man. But these guys, hang on, Martin, I'm finished. These guys spend a lot of money to come to football stadiums in a world that is miserable in its existence. This country's going down the toilet for various reasons. So when you go to a football match, you expect to be lifted out, not dragged into more bleeding misery. And the Spurs fans don't need that encouragement because half of them are a little bit like that anyway.
Well, you've got Thomas saying, be careful that you don't boo during the game. And then you get Pedro Porro, who seemed to lose his cool towards a Tottenham fan on Instagram after the game. He says, football is emotion. In football, as in life, there can always be mistakes. What I will not tolerate, says Pedro Porro, is hearing disrespect from the fan to my teammates, hence my frustration at the end of the game. So we will get up. We remind you 6 months ago, everything was so bad, and in the end, it's not how it begins, but how it ends. To the true Spurs fan, I love you.
But I mean, are you listening to this entitled tribe? I mean, the fact of the matter, it was bad 6 months ago, right? So you were part of that crap, and you're part of this crap too. It's not going much better either. So the fans have just got to pony up hundreds of pounds of money. Of course, I want the fans to be supportive. Of course, I think at times fans should pack it in. When I get West Ham fans coming on here, tell me the new owner should build them a stadium, it irritates me.
So you think the players should just put up with it? Just shut up?
I think.
Do their talking on the pitch?
Yes. If the criticism is unfair, I think Vicario is a poor goalkeeper, and I think he's a bomb waiting to go off. And I think ultimately there's a challenge with that, and the fans probably recognise.
But ultimately, the manager's inherited that, hasn't he?
Yes,
and he hasn't said
but that doesn't
publicly.
that's not the question. The question is, do the fans have a right to express their views?
Exactly.
To some extent, they do. So, Thomas, give them something to cheer about and then have a go at them.
But maybe the fans should stay at home, shouldn't they?
No, what do you want to mute them?
What?
No, you want to mute them?
Because they're not helping. They're not helping the situation. Now, look.
We told them how important they were.
Just let me tell you how it is from a footballer's point of view.
They're not helping.
There are times.
We know how it is.
I'm not going to name clubs, but there was one particular club I played at in my career where actually, in the end, you had to say, well, we're going to have to cock a deaf ear to these fans because they are certainly not helping us.
Win. Give them something to cheer about.
If you're worried about them, you're not going to survive. So forget the fans because they're not really on our side for now. Let's go and play our football.
But that's an excuse. You lot have got big enough mouths. You as players have got big enough mouths to what you're entitled to.
That's the reality. That's the reality.
You get your bums white from dawn till dusk. You do 2 hours a day, and now you expect people to go, well, actually, we should look after them and cheer them all the time.
Look at the clubs that have got support. When you see Sunderland now play at home, they're magnificent. They've gone to a new level because of the fans.
And here's the thing. In a year's time, when the fans' expectation changes and the novelty's no longer there and they're no longer looking with starry eyes at the Premier League, the football fan in them will change and they'll go, I want better performance.
But it's levels.
I want better football. I want better players.
It's levels, isn't it? Look, if you want to do this and take your team apart, just carry on. Become a laughing stock.
No.
The manager's trying to correct it. With Brian Clough said it. What about Brian Clough back in the day when he used to tell the fans, behave yourselves?
No, that was when they were running on you're using poor examples. The fact of the matter, he told the media off more than he told the fans. The idea that the fans should just sit there and be served up crap and be grateful for it is probably out of context with where football is right now. Fans are now in a viewpoint. We sat here and went, football without fans, look at COVID, it's dreadful. Get them back at the stadium. Oh, no. Only the way we want you to be in there.
When you're ready to support us, come back and support us. For now, we're on our own. Because that's where it looks like.
Martin, there's Ross the Tottenham fan.
Not got any support at all.
Martin. Here's the thing, though. If you're a Tottenham fan this morning, and let's hear from you, actually. 03717 223344. And hear Thomas Frank, who I like him very much. Went over to Brentford, did a couple of interviews with him. He's a good guy, and I like Thomas. But what is he thinking about saying this? Don't boo during the game because that's not good for the player. Are you kidding?
But it's true.
You're not a true Tottenham fan if you boo during the game. Wait till after. No.
But ask Martin the question. Do the Spurs fans, put aside the idea of how far they should and shouldn't go, do they have a point?
Well, they're entitled
to
do whatever they want.
Not the entitlement. Do they have a point about the performance of the Tottenham Hotspur team?
Do they have a point?
Do they have a point?
Because I think it's inexcusable to continually boo your player.
They're not continually doing it.
Because they're basically saying, take him off. And the manager's saying, no, I'm supporting this guy.
But Martin, what are Spurs fans meant to think this morning after that comedy of errors thanks to Vicario? They lose the game on Saturday night.
It's rock
They've
bottom.
spent their money going to it. Thomas says, don't boo during the game. And then Pedro Porro comes out with, Good morning, everybody. In football, as in life, there can always be mistakes. What I will not tolerate is hearing disrespect from the fan to my teammate. What he won't tolerate.
You want characters, you want personalities, you want people to speak.
Well, do it on
and
the
then
field,
you want
then.
to, and then you want to ridicule him when he comes
do it
out
on the
Look,
field.
he's better. He's learning this morning that he's better off just doing his talking on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day,
But he's
the
not doing it.
fans,
He's doing one
it's
or the other, not the
toxic,
other.
isn't it? It's toxic, and Thomas Frank is going to try to look. I like to look.
yeah.
Let's have a look at the
Lecture the
club.
fans, see how
Let's
that
have a
works
look
out.
at the club he's just left, and look at how together that club is. Yeah.
The switchboard's in meltdown. Let's hear from the Tottenham fans. What do you
But this
really
is,
think
I
about
think he's
this
underestimated the
disconnect?
size of the club, and it's a major issue for him. But I think they should stick with the manager.
So what are you saying to the Tottenham fans who booed during the game?
I'd show some respect for the players, or don't turn up at all.
So you're saying, Pedro,
go and watch Arsenal down the road, a much better
show
watch.
some respect, or don't turn up at all.
Exactly,
How
yeah.
about how about the players putting in performances that are unacceptable? How about they show some respect for the fans?
I don't think he's making deliberate
performance
mistakes.
against-
I don't think these.
the players' attitude in the game against Arsenal was totally unacceptable. They weren't at it in a game that meant so
No,
much.
that was how the manager set up. He
No,
And
but
the players-
know that
but
if
the
you're
players have
calling it,
choices.
Yeah, but
if you're calling
no,
in at
that
the
was the
moment
platform.
Tottenham fans and you are true Spurs fans in the eyes of Pedro Porro, please know that he loves you. 03717 223344.
Is Thomas Frank in danger of losing the Tottenham fan base?
Vicario's coming to the right fullback position and he's out of his goal and he's giving the ball away to Josh King and he's in a right pickle and they've bent it in with Wilson! It's 2-0! Vicario with an absolute howler!
A lot of Spurs fans off their seats berating the goalkeeper, and when they took the centre he was getting dog's abuse, and he is now. He's getting booed every touch.
Didn't like the way the fans reacted, didn't like that they booed at him. For me, that can't be true Tottenham fans. They should back the players throughout 90 minutes, no matter what.
I can't have Thomas Frank coming out and saying that the fans shouldn't be booing. Going to watch that garbage every single week. What is it you expect them to do? Get a pat on the back when you're 2-0 down to a rather average Fulham side this season?
Yeah.
Are you expecting to be rewarded for that?
They used to call the fans, didn't they, the 12th man, and obviously they're working now for the opponent.
We've got every right to do them. What do you want us to do? We're sitting there watching a flipping horror show.
You can't start telling fans how to feel and stuff, especially when you pay hard-earned money. And Spurs is expensive to go and watch.
Thomas Frank coming out and blaming fans, right? He needs to pipe down, and he needs to be very careful.
Well, he didn't pipe down. Instead, he was asked if his comments could damage his relationship with the fans.
I don't know. And you can say, how do you define a true Spurs fan? I think all the fantastic fans we have believe they're true Spurs fans. Some react in one way, some react in another, someone a little bit in between. No matter what, we need all of them.
Well, Spurs back in action, of course, this evening up at St James's Park. Joining us now, a man who knows just what it's like to manage in front of those Tottenham fans. It's Harry Redknapp. Morning, Harry.
Good morning, Hardy. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, we're good, mate. I'm not sure how good Thomas Frank is, though, at the moment. What did you make of the fans booing Vicario during the game, first of all, Harry, and Thomas Frank's criticism of those fans?
Well, obviously it's not nice, Jeff. When you're a player, you know, and you go behind. It was a soft, bad goal to give away, but you certainly, you know, the fans react. They obviously they're disappointed, but it doesn't help the team. That's for sure. You know, it doesn't help the goalkeeper. You're going to make him an even bigger bag of nerves than what it was before. So, but it is difficult. You know, we always say the fans pay their money, and you know they've got a right to their opinions, but. And as a manager, you come out probably and try to protect the player, and you know hope that you know. I knew when he said it that he was going to get a bit of grief over it for sure. But it is difficult. As you said just now, he needs time. We can't keep, you know, Tottenham can't keep chopping managers every time they lose a few games. You know, last year the team finished 17th or whatever it was. It was apart from winning the European competition, it was a shocking season. So he hasn't got a magic wand. It takes time. They're what they are, unfortunately. They're a team arguing. I think they'll finish sort of 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere like that this year. And they're going to have ups and downs. But at the moment, there are more downs than ups. Certainly at home, it's been disappointing. But you need to give Thomas Frank time, that's for sure.
It's a funny one, Harry, because I was at their opening two games. One, the
the big pre-season game against PSG, where I thought they were excellent, and then the opening game against Manchester City, and I thought they were excellent up at the City as well. And they went with a really solid three across the middle of the park, Harry. They went with Paulinho and Sarr, and I think it was Bentancur, and I just think they looked a lot more solid. I know they've got one or two problems with injuries up front, but I thought that three looked really, really solid. And they haven't been playing together recently.
No, I agree. I mean, that gives you a real strong base to go from, Ali, doesn't it? You know? And if you get that right in there, you know, the two centre-halves, the full-backs have been, you know, they've got plenty of options at full-back and centre-half. I didn't see it coming that they would have such a bad run. But, you know, the home form has really been disastrous. And I really felt this year they could maybe sneak into that fourth place even, you know, at the start of the year. But at the moment, it's not looking that way. But as I say, I think you've got to give the manager, you have to give them time. Look at the managers they've gone through in the last, I don't know, 10, 15. It's been incredible, you know. They've gone for, you know, Mourinho, Cundy. They've had everybody there, haven't they? And it's they can't keep firing people. They have to be patient and let them get on with the job, and let's see where we go at the end of the season.
Well, I mentioned they play at Newcastle at St James's Park tonight. Just have a listen to what their former striker Mido told us on breakfast yesterday.
Any player at Tottenham that I really enjoy watching. If I'm a Tottenham fan today and I want to go to the stadium and enjoy a certain player, who I'm gonna go and watch? No one. With all the respect to all the players that we have. We don't have a player like Kane. We don't have a player like Robbie Keane. We don't have a player like Son, of course.
I mean, does he have a point there, Harry? There's no one for Spurs fans to get excited by. You know, obviously, in your time there, you had the sort of, you know, the Gareth Bales and the Luka Modric's and the Rafa van der Vaarts of this world. But there's nobody quite like that now, is there?
No, I can see what he's saying for sure. Jeff, there is nobody that you think, my God, you know, he's going to go and do something special today. You know, I had at West Ham with a Vicario, someone who would get, you know, you'd look forward to going to watch him play because he could do something special and turn a game and give you something to hang on to it, even if it don't go your way and the result doesn't work out. You've seen some special talent and skill on that day. No, I can't. I agree. You know, I do agree with that. There is nobody that you know. I'd think, well, yeah. We've got to go and watch him today because he's a bit special. They are quite, you know, they're a team that they chop and change. And as Ali said, they need to find a regular team and you know, settle the team in and start trying to get some results. But there is nobody that gets you off your seat, that's for sure.
Harry, what about the big game at the weekend, mate? I want to ask you, obviously, the game at Chelsea, sending off kind of disappointed everything in terms of a spectacle. But did Chelsea just kind of give Arsenal a wee reminder there's a long way to go in this league campaign?
Yeah, greatly. I thought Chelsea were excellent. You know, they've been in good form. They're going well. They're getting better. They're settled in. There's lots of new players in the summer. I still fancy Arsenal, Ali. I still think that Arsenal are because of Liverpool, you know, not going to win it this year. Man City, I do think Arsenal are still red-hot favourites, in my opinion. I'd be really surprised if they didn't win the Premier League this year.
Harry, as ever, thanks so much for your time, mate.
Could I just say, it's been a sad week for everybody at West Ham, obviously. With Billy, you know, he was a one-off, an absolute one-off. What a player, what a man. And when they, you know, we people say, don't make him like him anymore. And when they certainly don't make him like him, he was a special, amazing footballer, an amazing person. So, yeah, it's been a sad week for everybody at West Ham.
Here, Harry.
Thanks, Harry. Well
Cheers,
said.
boys.
Well said,
Cheers,
mate.
Harry. Thank you very much. Don't forget, you'll hear if the Spurs Booze Boys are out in force tonight. They travel to St James's Park. It's live and exclusive on talkSPORT. Kick-off is at 8. An anonymous text, and you'll realise why it's anonymous in a moment, says, Spurs fans are hilarious. The delusion those fans have is staggering. The only club in London with worse fans is West Ham. The self-entitlement and lack of self-awareness as to where they are as football clubs beggars belief. And... yeah, no name on that.
Who signed that again?
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't from you, was it, Coisty?
No, certainly not from me, mate. Big West Ham fan, me.
Yeah. I mean, I've got another one just come through now. Get what Harry's saying about give him time, but surely he has to earn that patience by showing half-decent performances, which we haven't. Then to call the fans out, he's just making it a lot easier for him to be sacked by going for the fans rather than take accountability. Yeah, the performances haven't been consistent, but you mentioned Coisty. I mean, the win at Manchester City?
Yeah.
Goodness sake. I mean, maybe that set the standard too high, the expectations too high, and consequently there's been a pretty hard fall since then. Look, let's see how they do at Newcastle tonight. Yeah, Newcastle against Spurs live on talkSPORT from 7, presented by Adrian Durham tonight. Fulham against Man City live on talkSPORT 2. Bournemouth against Everton live on the talkSPORT app. talkSPORT with exclusive national radio commentary of all 10 Premier League games across the week, starting, of course, from today. And Ali McCoist will be at all 10 of those games.
I wish.
Morning,
I wish.
Coisty.
How are you this morning, my friend? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. You?
Brilliant, mate. Everything's good. Can't complain at all. Didn't speak to you yesterday, sadly, but I enjoyed a good weekend of sporting action as per usual.
Yeah, was it football all the way?
It was.
Was it Premier League? Did you get to see your boys or anything like that?
I did. I saw the boys play on Saturday, but on Sunday I was at Palace versus United. Enjoyed that game. I know we're going to talk a little bit Oliver Glasner, a little bit Palace, Mateta, also probably a little bit Manchester United. Man United were good second half. Palace were good first half. That was the kind of way I saw it, kind of very, very briefly. And then interesting seeing Liverpool get back on the road. Then I watched. I tell you, Jeff, I really enjoyed the big game at the weekend, probably Chelsea, Arsenal. Enjoyed that as well. So, and as you correctly said there, mate, some big games over the next 24, 48 hours.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in many respects, obviously a massive game for City.
Yeah.
Fulham, because City were not very good at all.
No.
At the weekend against Leeds.
Phil Foden aside.
Yeah, Phil Foden aside, and he said afterwards, look, the way we're playing at the moment, we're going to throw the league away, or words to that effect. You have to give credit to Leeds, by the way.
Yes.
Because their approach, particularly in the second half, was exceptional. And I think when people felt that, a couple of the promoted sides, Burnley and Leeds, just drifting down into the bottom three, and it would be the same old story. Well, I'm not so sure, because I thought that performance, even in defeat, gave Leeds fans some real hope. But what about Spurs, Coisty? Because tonight they go to Newcastle. I'm not sure the crisis is the word or not, but they're down again in the bottom half of the table. They're out of the EFL Cup. They're 16th in the Champions League. And, of course, a lot of debate about whether Thomas Frank should have criticised supporters for booing Vicario during the course of their defeat against Fulham. Look, ahead of tonight's game, Thomas Frank was asked if his comments could damage his relationship with those fans.
I don't know. And you can say, how do you define a true Spurs fan? I think all the fantastic fans we have believe they're true Spurs fans. Some react in one way, some react in another, someone a little bit in between. No matter what, we need all of them.
I'll tell you what, Ali, I'll nail my colours to the cross straight away, and it's going to offend a lot of people, because I was surprised by the amount of people I've heard and read from criticising Thomas Frank for having a dig at the supporters. I thought he was spot on to defend his player against booing during the course of the game. Do what you want to at half-time, do what you want to at the end, but during the game, how is that going to help your team?
No, it's not. The fact of the matter is, it's not, Jeff. There's a couple of angles. You look at this. I'm with you. 100% he's well within his rights to defend his players. I think he's got to be careful the way he does it in terms of being critical of the support, even if he's correct, right? And I'll tell you why. Because those, as long as they are not breaking the law, those supporters who pay their money are entitled to express their opinions and beliefs as long as it's within the parameters of the law. Does it do the team any good? 100% not. Does it do the players any good? 100% not. So, are what they are, in my opinion, are what they're doing right? No, not anywhere near as it correct. in any way, shape or form does it help their team or indeed the players. But I will defend their right to express their opinion. So the same way I will express his right to defend his players, and I think he was absolutely spot on. Now the only problem is we're probably a little bit guilty of it. Not well, I don't think we're a wee bit guilty of it. We're guilty of it in the media. We're bringing things up about there's Van de Ven and who was it? Was it Porro a couple of weeks back?
Yeah.
Not waving at the fans and all that stuff, right? So we're probably helping to create an atmosphere that isn't good between players and fans. Now fans.
But
will
we
say,
didn't do that, Coisty. They did that.
Yeah, I know that, but we're to an element, Jeff. We're bringing it up. I don't think it's a story, mate. Right, but my point is, we're making it a story. We're making it a big, oh, look at them, they're not waving at the fans, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not doing the next thing. Yes, it's them, it's doing it. But my point is, I don't really think it's a massive story. That's the point I'm trying to make. Getting back to the big point of Thomas Frank, yes, I think he came out with his statement yesterday, and it was a correct statement. I would not for a minute say he backtracked, but he kind of said, look, the important thing is we need to form a relationship between the players and the fans, and so they should, and so they need to.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you that people who pay money, and big money, by the way, and hard-earned money to go and support their club, are entitled to, have their say within the law. The word there was support their club. So, as I mentioned, boom at half-time, boom at the end. But James has just stolen my thunder. He's a Spurs season ticket holder, because he said exactly what I was going to say. Confidence is low at Spurs.
Yeah.
Booing will only make it worse.
Correct.
And James, you are spot on.
Correct.
Mind you, try to persuade Jamie O'Hara of that. He was not a happy man on the sports bar last night. He says, ridiculously, that Thomas Frank is running out of credit.
No one's talking about the tic-tac, not yet.
Well, I think there is.
I think Eddie's got a little bit of credit in the bank, mate.
I don't know if he has, Thomas Frank. I don't know if Thomas Frank's got much credit left.
Do you think he's running out of credit?
I think he's maxed out the credit card, mate.
Has he?
I think the bank are on the phone.
Oh my God! They're going to go in
in
and start taking goods.
I think they want payment. Oh, they want payment. They want payment. They're on the phone.
Mate, it could be.
Amex are phoned up.
Fulham could go above you. Everton could go above you. Newcastle could go above you. West
We're dropping like a stone, mate. We're dropping like a stone. Honestly, I wish I could drop a stone.
Come on, please, somebody repossess O'Hara, will you? They've just put him in place, Ali. At the start of the season, give the man a chance. They've not made wholesale changes. Of the signings that they make, Kuda starts regularly. Xavi Simons can't get in the team on a regular basis, and they brought a couple of loanees in.
Jeff, that there was the perfect example of the modern day sack culture going absolutely mental. It's just, you and I are obviously in total agreement, and so we should be. It's ridiculous to make that statement. The guy's hardly get his feet under the mat. You know what I mean? It's crazy. No, listen, there's a problem. There's been a problem for a while. Listen, Jeff, even when Big Ange won the Europa League last year, that whole scenario, whether Spurs like it or not, was bizarre. The fact that they just sacked a manager who's won some for the first time in I don't know how long, that doesn't, generally speaking, happen a lot. I know it happened with the Chelsea manager when he won the Champions League many, many years ago, to Matteo, but it, generally speaking, doesn't happen. So come on, just let Thomas Frank go on with his job. Let the Spurs fans get Spurs players get one or two players back from injury, and just see how they progress.
Yeah. Texting is saying football fans are so fickle. Vicario was winning Spurs points a few games ago. So is Thomas Frank struggling to bridge that gap between Brentford and Spurs? Just what happens at St James's Park tonight? Could it get messy for Spurs? Actually, I'm interested to see just how he's going to approach that game. Is he going to revert to the sort of style that he used against Arsenal? Or is it going to be more expansive again? 03717 223344. Give us a call.
Danny Kelly's with us. We're going game by game through the Premier League weekend. And Danny, we move on to Nottingham Forest 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. An interesting game. Forest slightly stopped in their tracks.
Such an advantage for the teams that don't play in Europe versus the teams who play on Thursday. There's no question about it.
I mean, Brighton had so many chances for scoring before half-time. It could have been a whole lot worse, couldn't it? I think it was some kind of Premier League record in terms of chances created.
Yeah, I mean, look, Andy's right, and we'll see. We saw that with Crystal Palace, which we'll come on to, no doubt, that these particular teams playing Thursday, it can be a real struggle. But also, I thought when I was looking at this game prior to it, didn't Forest win 7-0 last season? Brighton are not that bad a team. And, Forest have gone backwards and are coming forward again. I always thought there was a chance that some residual revenge here, because that was one of the really most surprising hammerings of the season. And as we keep saying, Brighton just improve incrementally season after season. Andy made the point last week that their old boys are central to what they do, and I only saw the highlights of this game, got to be honest, but it looked to me like every time Nottingham Forest tried to do something, Duncan Van Hecker were just absolutely immovable. Form result really, isn't it, because Brighton are improving again.
Yeah, they're doing well, no question.
Yeah, and that is very true. I mean, they're going to have an update, I think, this afternoon on Gibbs White and Murillo. Murillo went off, and he's always a big miss for Forest.
Huge loss, yeah.
So we're going to see what the news is.
I think we're going to see midweek a lot of players missing, a lot of rotation.
Yeah, because it is pretty relentless. We've got Europe again next week. Everybody's trying to manage their players, those that are playing midweek. So we'll come on to Palace, Manchester United later on. Maybe we saw a bit of that then, but I'm afraid we have to reach the thorny issue of Tottenham 1. Fulham 2, Danny.
I'll just go and make a cup of tea and leave you two.
No, well, we won't dwell on it for too long because it'll drive everybody mad. But if you can, for a deeper dive, go to the View from the Lane podcast if you want to. But anyway, it's going to war with the fans. I think, Danny, always very dangerous business. I can think of the players.
Tends to only have one winner, doesn't it, in the long run? I'm amazed. I'm astonished that the manager, Pedro Porro, Vicario, Sarr have all gone to different places in public forums, some online, some on television, to pull out some of the Spurs fans. For Thomas Frank to go straight to, they're not real Tottenham fans. Mate, you've been there 3 months. Some of those people booing might have been there 50 years. They pay to go to that stadium. You are paid to attend. I'm going to make no excuses for him. He speaks perfect English. Stupid. And not fair. I wouldn't boo the players during the match myself.
Same
but
here,
people are entitled to support their club any way they want, and it was nuts. And the subsequent story that the players now have to meet in the middle of the pitch because they're so frightened of going off individually. For the first time in football history, Paul, and this is a preview of the View from the Lane, we have a situation where the fans have lost the dressing room. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Yes. I mean, look, there's been pockets of this over the years. I remember Ramon Vega getting booed in a game and, say, Sol Campbell reacting. Never a great thing.
Davinson Sanchez got booed very unfairly. These things happen. But for the players, particularly Porro, to come out, he used the word real fans again in his Instagram thing. There's fundamental problems at Spurs, more than what's going on the pitch. And after the Chelsea game, I was being told by people that the business with Van der Ven and Jed Spence ignoring the manager coming off the pitch was nothing. Just one of those things. No, it's not. It was clear that something is wrong at that club.
Yeah, it's a great win for Fulham, and they were good for it. They exploited all of the many Tottenham weaknesses and could have been 5-0 up at half-time if it wasn't for Van der Ven.
He came at it with some credit. The second goal, for the fans of every other club, was one of those comedy classics where not only did the goalkeeper got the ball in an adjacent postal district, but decided that the correct response to losing the ball would be to jog back as though Sunday morning in the local park, while two of his fellow defenders, defying the logic of 150 years of association football, decided not to retreat back to the line to cover the goalkeeper.
No, it was.
But Fulham took full advantage of a team that's now paranoid at home.
And so it was staggeringly inept, and then the fan base have watched the team go down 2-0 in 6 minutes after they've talked up their performance before the game. Are supposed to have a ripple of polite applause at that point, are they? Well, I mean, it's an emotional game. It was in the moment, and a lot of people that booed in that moment probably didn't go on and do it again to Vicario. But you've got to have a bit of context on what happened, I think.
Yeah. If you want the whole context, Vicario came out a few weeks ago and said that the team needed more help from the crowd. And I wonder whether there was some residual resentment to that, because at the moment, that's all one way. The usual virtuous circle, team inspires crowd, crowd inspires team. At the moment, nobody's doing much inspiring at that stadium. I wasn't there, but I spoke to perhaps a dozen people who were, Andy, and we all know about Newcastle under Mike Ashley. I don't think I've heard a more strange atmosphere at a football club, and because the usual lightning rod for half a decade of frustration, Daniel Levy, is not there anymore.
No.
So it's swirling around in strange ways.
Very weird times. Going to hear from Thomas Frank very shortly.
Vicario was blaming him after he'd passed it straight to the Fulham player.
He was having a go at Udogie for some reason.
I couldn't work that out.
That was ludicrous as well. Absolutely ludicrous.
Spurs have been embarrassed once again at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's right. Fulham, what did they ask Santa Claus for Christmas? An away win. What did they get? An away win. Embarrassing once again. Players annoyed that the fans are booing them. They've got every reason in the world. Are you sick of Thomas Frank already? Or does it lie with the players as well? Give us a call, 03717 223344, as once again at the £1 billion stadium where Beyonce lives. It's the home of concerts, F1, boxing. But is it the home of any good football? No, it's not. Give us a call. It's Majestic. It's JP. This is the Sports Bar Weekender. Right, JP, get out of the way. Get the laughing out of the way. Do it now.
Has anyone seen Majestic, Jamie O'Hara,
I'm here.
Glenn O'Neill, Ozzy Art dealers? You boys took one hell of a meeting.
Hell of a meeting. Oh, mate. When I got the call, I looked at it, it was like 8 o'clock, Saturday night kickoff, which is terrible, by the way, anyway. Yeah. I was like, should I go to Spurs or should I come on air and probably be embarrassed by my team once again? So I thought I'd come here for punishment. So we're going to go straight to the phone lines because I want my fellow Spurs brethren to have their say. Let's go to Darren. How are we, Darren?
Oh, boys.
Right.
Listen, Jason Cundy will be having a field day, but we need to realise this, right? This is I'm with my 10-year-old son now in the car, right?
What's his name, Darren?
His name is Shalom. Shalom, say hello.
Hello.
All right, mate.
Listen. It's my grandfather started going to Spurs in the 50s. This is his first ever game, fourth generation, and it is abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal. And to be honest, I'll be quite frank with you, pun intended.
Pun intended,
it's
indeed.
Not good enough. The squad is just not good enough. Since Kane left, we haven't replaced him. Since Pochettino left, we haven't replaced him. And it's absolutely awful.
Was the game? Was your first game for your 10-year-old son?
Yeah, I'm on the way back from the game now.
Right. So what did you think when you saw Vicario in the corner? Because I knew what I thought when I was watching that. I knew what was going to happen.
To be fair, right, I understood what he was thinking. He's thinking, we're 1-0 down, I'll play it out and create something. But it's just, do you know what? They're playing with it's like when England used to play, in old World Cups and Euros before Southgate, where they're playing and you can see the pressure on their shoulders. And you can see it now. The atmosphere was as poor, I think, as it's ever been without people getting behind the team. I'll be honest with you, the last game I went to before this was Bilbao. And I've not been since Bilbao because it's been that poor. Bilbao was so poor.
Dreadful, wasn't it?
To be honest, they should have cancelled the game at half-time and neither team should have won. That's how poor it was. But I've not been since then, and it's got worse. It's absolutely got worse.
Darren, what's the solution, though? What's the solution for you, in your opinion?
I've got to be honest, at this point I don't know.
Yeah.
Levy's gone. Obviously the owners haven't changed.
Are we just biding our time till January to see what they can do then?
You know what? Do you know what I'm biding my time till? A lot of Spurs fans disagree with this, but I have to be honest and say it. I'm biding my time till the summer, till Pochettino leaves the USA and bring him back. Yeah. You know what? I've not seen, since Pochettino, I don't think I've enjoyed a single game watching Tottenham. It's been absolutely abysmal. Bring him back, see what happens. If it doesn't happen, all right, we'll move on. But you can't know that you've got to move on until you bring him back because it can't get worse.
Darren, great call. Thank you very much. Let's go straight to G, who joins us. How are we, G?
Midge. Don't, mate. Listen,
If I was there, I'd be holding you right now. Come here. Because it's therapy with one of your own. And I tell you what, mate, it's getting worse.
Mate. Serious. Have you got the violins on? Can you play the violin?
Yeah, we need the violins. We need, because I tell you what,
listen, mate. So that last caller there, yeah, my heart and soul goes out to him. All right? You got to remember, his son was there. By the way, I've got a croaky voice. This is natural.
I like it.
Listen, and his grandfather, like his father was there, and his grandfather was like, listen, we're talking about a generation looking at this, looking at that. They're watching that, and it is awful.
What do we do? Gee, what do we do?
You know what we do, Midge? Listen, by the way, Midge, you're a ledge.
Thank you, brother.
Can I just say that, yeah? You know what I mean? Instead of putting those sort of violins on, mate, just put some break beats out down, you know what I mean? You should smash that sort of
I think
thing.
you guys need more than violin.
Yeah. What do we need,
listen,
JP?
Mate, we need an orchestra. We don't need one violin.
You need the church.
We need the and the Royal Albert Hall. Mate, but I'll just listen. We need to bite our tongues, but we haven't got that long of a tongue. Mark my words.
Has Thomas Frank got long? Is he the man?
How long's a piece of string in North London?
All right. But what I'm saying is, if these results continue, is it time?
But do you know what, JP? It's been Ange's fault. It's been Nuno's fault. It's been Conte's fault. When Conte called those players out against Southampton, we were 3-1 up. We ended up drawing 3-0. He said, these players do not want to play under pressure. It always ends back on the manager. And I am tonight going to expose what this is. There is an undercore. There is an underbelly. And this is why other clubs laugh at Spurs. And this is why other clubs laugh at our fans when we get deluded about things. I know what we are as a football club. Yeah. And what we are is we are where we are. We shop in second-rate shops, yeah? Like, for example, tonight, Xavi Simons, who clearly is a footballer, a decent footballer, is not ready for the Premier League yet, yeah? We could have had Eberechi Eze. We could have had Morgan Gibbs-White, but we don't want to do the deals, yeah? So we are living off the legacy of Daniel Levy, and that's still affecting us. Let's go to GJ, because I've had him on loads, and GJ last week was annoyed. GJ, what's going on?
Oh, lads, you know what, right? I couldn't go tonight because I got summoned in for cat-sitting duties, but I got out of it. I mean, I dodged a bullet there, didn't I?
Oh, mate, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, I've got to say, first things first, the atmosphere was absolutely flat, right? I watched the Everton game before, and even though they got spanked, the crowd were way more fired up. And by the way, what a goal that was by Dewsbury Hall. That was straight out of the Bergkamp catalogue, I have to say that.
Yeah, I just... Do you know what it looks like, right? I'm going to give my opinion there. Is the team still looks hungover from that North London battering. The team, I don't think they've recovered. I don't think the fans have recovered. The players haven't recovered from that absolutely slaughtering at the Emirates.
Oh, that, yeah, absolutely.
No, the fans and the players haven't recovered. The team hasn't recovered. Second half, you look a little bit better. But first half was absolutely, shocking.
Can we quickly just talk about Vicario, because I've called him out on the Inside Spurs podcast here on talkSPORT. He is not a number one, right? And let me ask you, because you're the professional, JP, you've been there, you've done it. If you look back in those sticks and you see someone that you don't trust as a footballer, and you know when you play football with someone, I don't really fancy him, right? Have you ever been in that situation and the team don't rely on that keeper?
Well, you know someone's a weakling, and you don't want to pass the ball in certain situations because you know it could go left or right. So yeah, the defenders will not have that backing, will not have that trust in Vicario at times. And when you haven't got the trust in your goalkeeper, that puts you slightly on the back foot. Rather than being up, comfortable, composed, knowing that your goalkeeper's got this, you're on edge every minute when the ball goes back to him. Rather than sometimes playing back to your goalkeeper, then playing out to the other side, you're playing it back hesitant, like, shall I really do this? And that's going to affect the whole of the defence.
Absolutely. Thank you, GJ. Let's go straight to Chris, who's a Spurs fan as well. The phone lines are lit up with angry Spurs fan. Chris, what do we make of it?
Oh, I didn't imagine that. Jesus Christ! Oh, that was awful.
Second half was better, though.
Yeah, no, but honestly, the thing is, though, look, I am frustrated, and do forgive me about my frustration. I'm just, oh God, honestly, it's turgid football. But the thing is that we can't blame Thomas Frank. Let's get some respect. Look, this is a hangover.
Why not?
As you say.
No. I have to agree. I have to agree with Chris there. I don't think, especially tonight, when you're a manager, you don't expect Vicario to go and do that after 6 minutes, do you?
Yeah, but it should have been 4. It should have been 4-0 about half time.
Yeah, but when your goalkeeper's done that at that early stage of the game, your heads are gone. You're trying to recover. What the hell? It's just like it's like in a boxing fight. When is the most vulnerable time for a boxer? First round, they get knocked down. You know, it's the same thing. They got to get their heads back in the game. Right now, I have to say, you know, it's just worrying, isn't it?
No, Thomas Frank and Arnie Slot are running on a tightrope right now.
Well, yeah, but let's not forget Ruben Amorim is also a tightrope as well, Jermaine. Yeah, no, but the thing is, though, look, this club needs root and branch reform. Simple as. You look at what Newcastle have done since the Saudis have come over, right? You know, they've got new directors of football, the recruitment's better. I mean, look at them. They sold Isak and they've got Voltamade, who's even better than the guy they got rid of, right? And the thing is, you know, we've got players like Majestic.
But you say that, Chris. Newcastle are on the same points as us.
Well, yeah, but I mean, come on. It's just won 4-1 tonight. They
won 4-1 tonight, but we beat Everton 3-0. We didn't concede against Everton. It's sometimes we always look at other clubs, what they're doing, what's going on. With Spurs right now, I'm with you. It needs to be start again. And this whole thing.
Look, let me say
Go on, Jake.
What's not acceptable for Spurs is that you've won one home game this season, and that was against Burnley.
Correct.
You've drew to Wolves, who were rock bottom of the table at home, who were most probably going to get relegated. Right now, the worst team in the league. You have not won a game at home in the Premier League this season. That in itself, forget the points or where you are, that in itself is not acceptable.
No, it isn't acceptable. I agree. But as I say, like the other callers said, we are shopping in Poundland for players. That's what we do. Getting Destiny Doggy, Kevin Danso, Jed Spence. Jed Spence is not even good enough to get in the Championship. But
the problem is, Chris, do you know, I'll say this.
New, though.
But I'll say this, right? For example, when we bought Dele Alli for £5 million, right, and he turned out to be incredible for those few seasons that he was amazing, right? Yeah, if Spurs started buying from the Championship, and there's some amazing players in the Championship, by the way, fans would turn. Our fan base are part of the problem. I'm part of the fan base. We don't know what we want. We don't know what we want. We don't know whether we want to win ugly.
We want to win. We will win.
But we want to win. But when we win and it's ugly under Conte, it's boring. Then it's like Conte goes, we got big hands and it's like, woohoo, it's crazy for a bit.
All right, let me ask both of you a question. When was the last time Spurs went out and bought a marquee player?
This is what I'm saying. 1994, Jurgen Klinsmann.
Right. So you can't start blaming. We've shop it here. That's what you've done throughout most of your history.
I know we have.
But the recruitment's been poor. That you can still buy decent players. For example, like Brighton or Bournemouth don't go out and buy marquee players on a regular basis. Yeah, but their recruitment's been a lot better.
But they make a marquee, and then people buy them.
Yes. For example, Crystal Palace, Elise, Eze, etc. But if we went to buy, if we bought Elise and Eze from Reading, right, our fans would be like, "What are we buying from Reading for?" It's the same way we're going, "Oh, Thomas Frank's not good enough for Spurs. He was only at Brentford." The last good manager that we had, that everybody loved, came from Southampton, Pochettino. Anyway, great call. Thank you. Let's go to Jamie, who joins us on the Sports Bar Weekend now. Are we, Jay?
Oh, mate, it's every week now. It's constant. I dread watching it. I still watch it because it's my team and I support them, but it's dreadful. It's just every time they start off slow, and then they have to go a couple of goals down to then start pushing on and putting a performance in.
Jamie, let me ask you about Vicario. What do you make of him? Because I don't think we've talked about him enough. Apparently, Thomas Frank's come out.
He's dreadful. Yeah. He's dreadful. He pulls off. He will pull off a couple of decent saves. He's no good with his feet. Nope. He's no good at commanding that box at all.
And you know what I love about him? He'll do that mistake and he'll start shouting at his players. If I played with him, mate, I'm putting it on him.
Take some accountability. He's shocking. They play out from the back. We haven't got the players to play out from the back. They do it every time they get a goal kick. He sometimes ain't even taking the goal kicks, and they want to play it about at the back, and they invite the pressure on, and then they can't deal with the pressure, and it's constant. The PSG game. Yes, that was probably one of the better performances we've had this season, but then we was let down by 3 stupid mistakes. Twice they scored from the edge of the box because no one wanted to close him down. Similar thing today. Their right back closed in. No one was marking him. We can't also keep going back to this, change the manager.
No.
As you said just now, we've had Conte, we've had Mourinho. Mourinho got binned off 3 days before a cup final. That was what he was brought in, all because Levy didn't want to pay him the money that he would have had to pay him for winning that trophy.
Yep.
Conte spoke the truth after that Southampton game, and what he said was bang on. The players there don't want to win. Yes, we won the trophy last season. It's the second trophy in my lifetime of me supporting Spurs that we've won a trophy, and it was amazing. But what has it done for us? Nothing. We haven't kicked on. Nothing's changed. We've virtually gone. We tightened up a bit from the football that we had with Angela last season, but ultimately the results haven't changed. The home form is terrible. Like that, one win. Mate,
they just can't. Do you know what, Jack? I'm going to read out the results of our home form. Yeah, we lost 3-0 to Burnley at home. Then we lost 1-0 to Bournemouth at home. Then we got a late equaliser against Wolves at home, 1-0. We lost 2-1 to Villa at home. We lost 1-0 to Chelsea at home in one of the most abysmal London derbies I've ever seen. We then drew 2-2 with Man United. Again, Vicario. We should have won that. And then tonight we lose 2-1 to Fulham. I earlier on I was looking at the mistakes that Vicario has made for Spurs, yeah? And there's so many games. The FA Cup 4th round last year when he got bullied by Ake for the corner. You know, the North London derby where people taking his gloves off and stuff. He has to go. January, buy a new keeper, be brave and beat him off. Thank you, Jamie. Let's go to Tom, who joins us on the Sports Bar Weekend. How are we, Tom?
Yeah, hi there. Good evening. Listen, what I want to say is I think Frank has to go. There's no clear game plan. When we walk out, you know, nobody knows what they're doing. Like, and you're sitting there watching it, and there's no strategy.
There's no urgency, that's for sure.
There's no urgency. There's no strategy. There's particularly up front, right? We got the problem with Richarlison, right? He's I think we need Solanke to come back in. However, there's no focal point in the team, and obviously we are still missing Kulusevski and Maddison. I think that will change things, but as it stands, we look lost. We look lost, and I don't know whether it's to do with Frank, the way that he sets the team up. But
Tom, can I get your opinion on this? I'm just reading about Thomas Frank speaking to the media after the game, and apparently on the booing of Vicario after his mistake, he said that's not a true Spurs fan. What do you make of those comments there from Frank?
About booing Vicario?
Yeah, after the mistake.
Look, he shouldn't have been out on the left wing where he was. It's crazy. He should have. If you're out there, at least launch the ball down.
That's trying to do step overs.
Right. Listen, it's not about launching the ball. What you do is you put it in row Z in the stand.
That's
you
the one.
Kick it out or play.
100%.
And then they've got to get the ball back.
But you can also sort of look at Danso and Van der Ven. They should have also looked at and covered. However, they were kind of sleepwalking. They didn't cover, and it's kind of diabolical, really.
I love that. That's a great word, by the way. Let's thank you very much, Tom. Listen, the number is 03717223344. Get those calls in right now. What I want to know from Spurs fans, I've just been reading, Thomas Frank has come out and said, if you booed Vicario tonight, then you are not a true Spurs fan. What do you make of that? Are you Thomas Frank out already? Do you give him more time? Is this the hangover that Spurs